Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, this is Farhan, linguistic scholar, your motivator, English language trainer, and you are watching English with Malik Farhan. Dear viewers, this is the only platform where you can learn how to love nature and how to love learning. So keep watching these videos and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Have a blessed time. Assalamu alaikum dear students, how are you guys? Dear students, today I'm here with the new topic of grammar. Guys, this is the topic which is in fact a question, a most frequently asked question by the students. Sir, how do you people play with sentences? Means you feel so easy to change sentences into active voice and sometimes into passive voice. So how do you behave with sentences like this? How do you feel very easy to do these activities? So my dear students and my viewers, my today's topic is relevant to active and passive voice. Guys, if you watch this lesson complete, I can assure you that next time you would not ask the question, sir, how do you play with sentences? How do you change active into passive so easily? So you would have a command over active and passive voice if you watch this lesson complete. Now the question is, the first question I think I should tell you guys that what is the difference between active voice and passive voice. But before this, we have a voice. So voice is of two types. How? One type of voice is considered an active voice and other type of voice is considered passive voice. Basically, these are sentences. These are sentences relevant to English language, relevant to English grammar. But in these sentences, some of the sentences are active in active voice and some of the sentences are in passive voice. So what did I say? I said that voice is basically the sentences, the whole you can say phenomena or the whole drama of sentences in English language or in English grammar. But we specify this voice into two categories. One is active voice sentences and the second is passive voice sentences. Now we come to the question that what is the difference between active voice and passive voice. So guys, in active voice sentences, always the performer is in active form. Performer means your doer, means the subject of the sentence. In active sentences, what subject does, he remains in active form. Means the doer or the performer, means the action is directly being performed by the performer or by the doer. But on the other hand, in passive voice, receiver is active. Receiver means the object. So in active sentences, your performer means your subject, that element of grammar, that thing, that particular person is your in active form, is your prominent. While in passive form, passive voice sentences, the object is in active form. Got that? I said in active sentences, your performer means your doer, subject, he or she is in active form, means he is directly performing the action. So the prominence is being given to subject. But in passive voice, the object is prominent. The action is being performed, but it is directed to object. So the object is in active form in passive sentences. So shortly I would say again, in active sentences performer is active in active form, and in passive sentences object is in, means receiver is in active form. Object means receiver. Got that? Active voice, performer is in active form. Passive voice, receiver is in active form. So what is the significance? Why do we change active into passive and passive into active? Okay guys, let me tell you one thing. When the writer or the storyteller or the book writer, they want to give prominence to the subject, they do what? They use active sentences. And when they want to specify the object, they want to give importance to the object, they do what? They use passive sentences. So in active passive are basically used to give importance or prominence to performers and receivers. When performers are getting prominence, they are belonging to the active sentences. When receivers are having prominence, such type of sentences are belonging to the passive sentences. Got that? So this was the difference between active and passive voice. Now I would like to tell you another very important situation of personal pronouns cases of personal pronouns, means the subjective case, okay, means possessive case and objective case. These three cases are very important in active voice, passive voice. When we are going to change active into passive and passive into active, we have to take great care of these personal pronouns cases of personal pronouns, or you can say simply the personal pronouns. So this was the difference between active and passive. What was the significance of active and passive? Now we are moving towards the chart of personal pronouns and along with their cases. How do we change these pronouns into you can say into subjective, into objective, and the second category, means your second category, which one is called your second category, which is called your possessive form, that doesn't change. Possessive case doesn't change, it remains the same. So now look at the personal pronouns along with their cases. Okay guys, first of all, on board we have discussed what is the difference between active voice and passive voice. We have discussed the prominence, means significance of active voice and passive voice. Now I'm going to move another segment. In this segment we would discuss the chart of personal pronouns. Okay, the chart of personal pronouns with its its specific cases. So these are the pronouns. These pronouns play a vital role in active voice and passive voice, because in each and every sentence we have to convert these pronouns, first person pronouns into third person pronouns. We have to change subjective cases into objective cases. So these pronouns play a vital role in our active voice and passive voice. Earlier we discussed the difference and the prominence. Now we are discussing the personal pronoun chart. Okay, I have categorized these personal pronoun chart in three, you can say in three segments, in three cases. The first person pronoun, the first case is subjective case, the second is possessive case, and the third one is objective case. So we have I is your, definitely I is your first person pronoun. So first person pronoun I, subjective case, changes into objective case me. When we are going to discuss some examples, you would see that I changes into me, means subjective case of I changes into objective case of I, me. Got that? Then we have another first person pronoun, and this one is your we. We subjective case changes into us objective case. Got that? You would see some certain sentences. If you would practice these active passive, you have to do what? You have to change these subjective cases, means you have to change we subjective case in us objective case of first person pronoun. Then we have second person pronoun, and this second person pronoun is you. You subjective case changes into objective case you. You is having same subjective case and same objective case. Then we have third person pronoun. In third person pronouns we have he, she and they, it. Okay, here we can change he subjective case of third person pronoun he into objective case of third person pronoun he, means him. It becomes him. He changes into him. When we would discuss some certain examples of sentences, you would see that we change he into him. Subjective case he changes into objective case him. Similarly, she is your subjective case of third person pronoun. It changes into her. She changes into her. Got that? Then they is third person pronoun. They subjective case changes into them objective case, means the subjective cases first persons changes into third persons into objective cases. So I and we is your first person pronoun, you is your second person pronoun, he, she, they and it is your third person pronoun. So it subjective case changes into it objective case. You and it, they have same subjective cases and same objective cases. Now you are thinking, what about these possessive cases? Means my, our, your, his, her, their, its. You would be surprised that these second persons possessive cases, they have no change. They remain the same. Got that? Only subjective cases changes into objective cases, but these possessive cases remain the same. So till here we discussed what? First I told you that what is the difference between active voice and passive voice, what is the prominence of active voice and passive voice. Then we discussed the personal pronoun chart, means we discussed subjective cases, objective cases, and I told you that possessive cases they do not change, they remain the same. Now we are moving towards the verb changes. Okay guys, remember one thing, and this thing is very important, that when we are talking about the verb changes, remember one thing. I'm telling you again that remember one thing, and this thing is that you have to change active voice into passive voice with the help of past participle, means third form of verb. Whenever you are going to change active voice into passive voice, you will have to use only third form of verb, means past participle. All the passive voice sentences are formed with the help of past participle, means third form of verb. Okay, first we discussed the difference between active and passive voice, the explanation of active and passive voice, the prominence, and then we discussed the personal pronoun chart. I told you subjective case, possessive case and objective case. I told you how subjective case changes into objective case. Okay, I told you these first person pronouns, second person pronouns and third person pronouns. Now we are moving towards the verb change, and I told you that in verb change, in active to passive, we always use third form of verb. when we are going to change active voice into passive voice, we always use past participle, means third form of verb. Got that? Okay, now look at the next chart, which is your verb change. Look at that chart carefully. It would help you to make your concept more clearer, more easier. So if you watch this video complete, and if you observe all the changes, all the rules, all the discussion, you would easily be able to understand active voice, passive voice, the grammar topic. Got that? Now we are moving towards the verb change, chart of verb change. Okay guys, this is our another segment of active and passive voice. Guys, in this segment we would discuss how do we change verb or tense during active into passive voice. Guys, in first segment I told you the explanation of active and passive voice, the importance, significance of active and passive voice. Then we discussed an important chart of personal pronouns change. Now we are going to move towards the elaboration of verb or tense changes, and after that we would discuss certain examples that how do we change active into passive. Got that? And today I'm trying my level best to make the things easier, make things more understood for you people, just to have your concepts totally, just to have your concept clear. Okay, the very important chart, pay your great attention towards this segment. If you want to grip your active passive, you should know, you must know how do we change verbs or auxiliaries in active to passive and passive to active. So guys, first of all, as you know, I told you again and again that when we change active voice into passive voice, the first thing, the main verb which is always changed into third form, means past participle form. First, in active voice we have different main verbs, like we have present tense verb, we have present continuous verb, means present participle, we have past tense, second form of verb. But in passive voice, always we use only third form of verb, means past participle. Got that? Don't forget this point. Don't forget my words that in active and in passive voice we always use past participle, means third form of verb. Okay, now look at the verb change. If we are making the sentence of present simple, we do what? We use first form of verb, present tense. But in passive voice we always use third form of verb, means past participle. For example, I have a sentence, I like mangoes. I like mangoes. Like is first form. It shows that this sentence belongs to present simple. But when I'm going to change it into passive voice, I would make a sentence like mangoes are liked by me. So now what I did, I used liked and are, because the subject was plural, mangoes are. I like mangoes, mangoes are liked by me. So in passive we use, in place of first form we use third form, and we add auxiliaries am, is and are with third form of verb. If we have the subject I, then we use am, and if we have the subject singular, then we use is, and if the subject is plural, then we use are. I like mangoes, mangoes are liked by me. Got that? So this is present simple. The verb change of present simple, auxiliaries is, are, am, and third form of verb. Okay? Now we have present continuous tense. In present continuous tense, auxiliaries remain same. Either we have active voice or we have passive voice. The auxiliaries are same, and the auxiliaries are is, are, am. But we do what? When we transform, when we change active into passive, we add being. B-E-I-N-G, being after the auxiliary is RM, and then we change first form, present participle means fourth form into past participle means third form, as you know better. So, for example, if I have a sentence, they are eating apples. They are doing what? They are eating apples. Are and eating. This shows the continuity, means progressive form. It means that this sentence belongs to the category of tenses present continuous tense. Got that? They are eating apples. Present continuous tense. How do we change into passive? We say they are eating apples. Active voice. Apples are being eaten by them. I changed. How did I change? I changed they are eating apples, are eating into are being eaten. I changed are eating into are being eaten. They are eating apples. Apples are being eaten by them. First we use are, then being, and then eaten, third form. Got that? In auxiliaries, in passive form, in active and passive or present continuous, we use the same auxiliaries. Auxiliaries is RM, but in passive we add being after auxiliary and then third form of verb, past participle. Got that? So guys, now we move towards the past simple. Past simple. In past simple sentences, as you know, we only use past tense form, means second form of verb. Got that? Second form of verb is always used in simple sentences of past simple or past indefinite. So, for example, they finished their work. They finished their work. Their work was finished by them. Second form of active sentence is replaced by auxiliary was were, and third form of verb means past participle. They finished their work. Now the subject is they, plural. They finished their work. So their work now would be the subject over here in passive voice. Their work is singular, so subject is singular. So their work was finished, auxiliary was, and then finished, past participle. They finished their work, active voice. Their work was finished by them. So what do we do? We use was and were auxiliaries in passive of past simple and then third form of verb. Clear? Got that? I'm trying my level best to make your concepts completely understood. I don't want to have any ambiguity in your minds. So watch this lesson today complete. If you completely watch this lesson, definitely you would be able to grip, to command over your active and passive segment of grammar. Okay guys, after past simple, now we move towards past continuous. Look at the sequence. In present continuous, we used the auxiliaries is, are, am, and ing form. Similarly, in past continuous, we use was, were, and ing form. Got that? We use was, were, and ing form. Means auxiliaries are used in active or passive. Either it is active, or it is passive. We use the auxiliaries only was, were. But we use present participle, means fourth form, ing form. Got that? The sentence is, for example, he was telling a lie. He was telling a lie. Look at the sentence. He was telling a lie. He is subject, was auxiliary, telling fourth form, present participle, means first form of verb with the addition of ing morpheme at the end. He was telling a lie. But when we change this, he was telling a lie, active sentence into passive, we do what? We use a lie was being told by him. Now look at the difference. What is the major change? The change of verb is a lie was being told by him. Was were same. Was with singular nouns pronouns and were with plural. But after was were, I did what? I used being, and then past participle means third form of verb. Got that? In next segment, inshallah, I would elaborate some examples, certain examples. Through these examples, you would be definitely able to grip over active passive. Till here, we have discussed the difference, the importance of active passive. Then we moved towards the personal pronouns charts. Now we are discussing the verb change. Okay, till past continuous tense. Got that? I hope you have understood the whole concept. Now we are moving towards present perfect. Okay, present perfect. In present perfect, we use the auxiliaries. Either it is active or passive, we use the auxiliaries has and have. But when we change active sentence into passive, we do what? We add been. We add been after auxiliaries has or have. And then we use past participle, means third form of verb. Got that? For example, I have a sentence. The police has caught the thief. The police has caught the thief. This is active because the subject is prominent. The police has caught the thief. The thief has been caught by the police. The thief has been. Now look at the change. Look at the change. What I did, I used has been rather than has. The police caught the thief. The thief has been caught by the police. Has been, we use has have and then been and then caught, past participle, third form of verb. Got that? Okay, then and then we use by and subject into object and object as subject. These things I have told you earlier. These things would be discussed in certain examples more clearly, more easier, in a more easier way. Okay, now we have, I did what? We change has have with has been or have been, and third form caught means past participle in passive form. Okay, now we have past perfect. What did I say? Now we are moving towards past perfect. Similarly, as we did present perfect, in past perfect we have only one auxiliary, and that auxiliary is had. What? The auxiliary we use in past perfect tense, we use the auxiliary had. Either it is active or it is passive sentence. But same, had is changed into had been when we change active into passive. And definitely you know, in passive which form we use? In passive which form of verb we use? Tell me. Yes, you're right. We use past participle, means third form of verb. Got that? Are you getting my points? Viewers, definitely you are getting my points if you have full concentration over here. This segment, this lecture, inshallah, would enable you to understand the concept of active passive, inshallah, in the days to come quite comfortably. Okay guys, in past perfect we have had and then third form of verb. For example, Ali had passed the examination. Ali had passed the examination. The examination had been passed by Ali. Ali had passed examination. The examination had been passed by Ali. What I did, I changed had into had been, and then third form of verb means past participle. Okay. Now we are moving towards the future simple. We did today only present simple, present continuous, past simple, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, and now we are moving towards the last segment, future simple. The rest of the categories of future would be discussed in a detail in other lessons. Okay. In future simple, we use will or shall auxiliaries and first form of verb, means present tense form of verb. But when we change active sentences of future simple into passive sentences of future simple, we do what? We use will be, shall be and third form of verb, means past participle. Got that? For example, we have a sentence, she will polish her shoes. She will polish her shoes. Now look at the change of passive. Her shoes will be polished by her. The difference is what? Will is changed into will be, and first form is changed into third form, means present tense is changed into past participle. She will polish her shoes. Her shoes will be polished by her. She will polish her shoes. She is subject, will is auxiliary, polish is first form of verb, her is pronoun, and shoes, her shoes is object. Then we change this sentence of active into passive. We take object at first, her shoes, then auxiliary will be, her shoes will be, then main verb first form into third form, will be polished, third form. Then we use preposition by, and then we change the subject she into her, means first case into third case. Okay, got that? She will polish her shoes will be polished by her. Her shoes will be polished by her. Will into will be and first form into third form. Polish, present simple, present tense into polished, past participle. Got that? Now let me remind you the lecture, recall the lecture. First we did what? Firstly we discussed the explanation of your active and passive, the prominence or significance of active and passive. Then we discussed the personal pronouns chart, which was very important. And then we discussed the verb or tense changes, means how do we change auxiliaries, how do we change main verbs while changing active voice sentences into passive voice sentences. We discussed present simple, present continuous, past simple, past continuous, present perfect, past perfect, and future simple. Okay, now we will discuss certain sentences, that how do we change the sentences of these all tenses, means active sentences into passive sentences, with clear elaboration. So stay with me, because now we are moving towards the practical examples of these certain tenses, that how do we change active into passive while going through these tenses. Got that? So till here I think you have got the clear concept. Don't go away, stay with me. Now we are moving towards the elaboration of certain examples of active voice into passive voice belonging to these tenses. Got that? Okay, so let's move towards the certain examples of active, change of active into passive. Okay guys, first of all we did what? We discussed what is the difference between active voice and passive voice. What was the prominence, means the significance of active voice and passive voice. Then we further discussed the chart, means the personal pronouns, different cases of personal pronouns. Then we discussed the verb change. Now guys, look at the sentences of active and passive voice. Look at these sentences. Watch these sentences carefully. If you carefully observe and watch this segment, definitely you would be able to have a command over active voice and passive voice. There are certain rules. You have to follow these rules. You have to see what I'm doing with these active voice and passive voice, how I'm going to change active into passive. So look at this. First of all, I'm going to discuss the present tense. So I like apples. This is your present simple. How did you come to know? Because we used V1 means first form of verb. So this shows that this one is present simple tense. And these things we have discussed earlier in our lecture of tenses. So if you haven't gone through these things, you are better consulted that first look at that lecture of tenses. Then if you have grip over tenses, it would be easy for you to understand active and passive voice. So I was saying that first of all, I'm having simple present tense. I like apples. How did we come to know that this one is simple present? The first form of verb is V1 is there. So this is active voice. Why? Because the subject is prominent. The doer, performer means me. I am playing an action. I'm doing what? I'm saying that I like apples. Mean the performer is I. So this one is personal. This pronoun I is prominent. So it shows that this sentence is active voice. I like apples. Now see, same sentence. We are not going to change the tenses, but we are going to change the formation. So now look at this. Apples are liked by me. This is what? Passive voice. Why? Because here apples, it was what? It was your object, but means receiver. So in first case, active voice, the prominence was given to subject, but in passive voice, prominence, the importance is given to your receiver, means your object. So what we did first, we changed object into subject. First of all, we took object at the place of subject. So it became apples. Apples are. In present simple tense, simple sentences, we do not use auxiliary verb. But in passive voice, we use auxiliary is, are and am. Here, our subject, which was first object, now this is subject. Our subject is in plural form, apples. So I used are. Apples are liked. Whenever you are going to change active into passive voice, you have to use third form of verb, means past participle after your auxiliary. Apples are liked. Present simple form, first form changes into what? Third form, liked by me. And if you have object, then you do what? You write over there preposition by after third form of verb and then object. And when you are going to write object, you have to change the case of pronoun. Means it was I was your pronoun, first person. It was changed into third means third case, me. Okay, I changes into me. Got that? As I have told you that there are different cases of pronouns. First one is your subjective case, and then your possessive case, and then your objective case. So I is your subjective case, it changes into your objective case, me. Apples are liked by me. What I did, first of all, I took object as a subject, then I used auxiliary are with your subject because the subject was in plural form. So we used are. Then I did what? I changed first form V1 into V3, means third form of verb, past participle. Then I used the preposition P because there was an object, and I changed I into me, means the subjective case of I changed into definitely into objective case, me. So I into me. This is your pronoun. So these are the changes. First, object became subject. Then we used auxiliary after subject. Then we used V3, means first form of verb changes into third form of verb. Then after third form of verb, we use preposition by, and then we used me, means we change the person, we change the case of I into me. So it became passive voice. So it was your present simple. Now look at your present continuous tense. He is eating mangoes. Definitely your performer is he. He is performing some action. Means prominence is given to your performer, your doer. So he is your subject. And then he is. Now this one is present continuous tense. So in present continuous tense we use the auxiliaries is or am. So there is he. So we are using is. This is your auxiliary. Eating is your fourth form, V4, and then mangoes is your object. So how did you come to know that this one is active voice? Because your subject was in prominence, means the subject was your in active form. And then we are changing this same sentence into passive voice. We are doing what? We are taking object mangoes first as subject. Now mangoes is subject. So mangoes are in plural form. So we are using the auxiliary are. We are using auxiliary are. In active voice, we were using the auxiliary is because the subject was singular. But here the subject is in plural form. So we are using the auxiliary are. Mangoes are. Just to convert our fourth form, means present participle into past participle. Into past participle we are doing what? We are using being. Mangoes are being eaten. Then we do what? V3. As I told you, in passive voice, definitely in each and every condition we use only third form of verb. Then we use the preposition by, and then him. He changes into him. He was your first person case of subjective. It became into objective case him. This is your pronoun. This is now your mangoes are being eaten by him. So this is your object. Got that? We did present simple. We did present continuous. Now look at your present perfect tense. They have caught the thief. Now again your doer, they is prominent, means the action has been done by the performer. So they is your subject and they is in a plural form. So we used the auxiliary in present perfect tense have. So this is your auxiliary. And then caught. Caught is your past participle, means third form. They have caught the thief. So the thief is your object. But now when we are going to change this active voice into passive voice, we are doing what? We are taking the thief object as subject. So object changes into subject when we are going to change active into passive. So the thief has been. Object is first, then has been, because thief is singular. So we used what? We used the auxiliary has. And just to have a little difference, we use before past participle been. Got that? And this is your V3. And then preposition. And then we change pronoun they into them. Means first person into third person, means subjective case. We changed subjective case of they into objective case them. So this is your object now. So we did what? First of all, we changed object into subject. Then we used auxiliary according to the subject. Then we used being before V3 past participle. Then we use preposition and then we use the object. So this active voice has been changed into passive voice. So we did what? We discussed the present simple tense, the sentence of present simple, the sentence of present continuous, and the sentence of present perfect. Got that? Now we are moving towards the next category. Okay guys, now look at the past tense and future simple tense. he finished his work. Again, the subject he is prominent. So it is what? Do you have an idea? Yes, you have an idea. So this is active voice. You are right. So this is active voice. How did I come to know that this one is active voice? Because your subject he is prominent. So he finished his work. He finished his work is active voice. He is your subject, finished. Second form of verb means past tense. V2. His work is your object. Got that? So this is active voice because the subject, the performer is active. Now we are going to change this active into passive voice. Now look at this carefully. His work was finished by him. His work, which was your object, now this is your subject. The first change, what we did? First of all, we changed object into subject or passive. Then the subject is in singular form, so we used auxiliary. In past simple sentences, we do not use the auxiliary. We only use the second form of verb. But in passive sentences of past simple, we use the auxiliary was and were. Was with singular nouns pronouns and were with plural nouns pronouns. So his work is singular now. So this is now subject. First it was object, now this is subject, and we are using the auxiliary was because the subject is in singular form. Finished. This is your V3. As I earlier told you, in passive sentences, definitely we use past participle, means third form of verb. By is your preposition. So here this was he, means subjective case of he. He is your third person pronoun. So the subjective case of third person pronoun he changes into objective case of third person pronoun he changes into him. So this is now object. Okay guys, are you getting my points? I'm trying my level best to make your concept very clear. I'm trying my level best that you people may have no ambiguity. So that is the reason I'm trying to convey my lesson. I'm trying to deliver my lecture in a very easy, very slow speed. So now next is our past continuous tense. They were telling a lie. They were telling a lie. Got that? Yes, this is your active voice. How did we come to know? Because the subject, they, plural pronoun, this is prominent. So they is your subject. They were, because this is in continuous form, means this is progressive tense. They were, the subject is plural form, so we are using the auxiliary were. They were telling, present participle, means fourth form of verb. V4. They were telling a lie. A lie is your object. So, did you see? They were telling a lie. The subject is, the performer is prominent. So, they were telling a lie. This is your past continuous tense. And now we are going to change this past continuous tense into passive voice of past continuous tense. First of all, object. Take object as the subject. A lie. Now it is subject. A lie was, because they were plural pronoun, but a lie is your singular noun. So a lie was, this is auxiliary. A lie was being, we are using being just to change telling into told, past participle. A lie was being told, V3, by preposition. Them means they changes into them. So this is your second person. They, your subjective case changes into them into your objective case. So it becomes object. So what we did? We changed object into subject. We used auxiliary according to the subject. Then we used being, and after that we used third form of verb, and then preposition, and then object. So in this way we changed active voice into passive voice. Got that? So this was your past continuous tense. Now look at the past perfect tense. Ali had passed the examination. Again, the action has been done by the performer. So your subject, your doer, your performer is prominent. This is your subject. Had is your auxiliary. Past is your past participle, means V3. And the examination, this is your object. So it is active voice. Why? Because the subject Ali is, the performer is prominent. The prominence has been given to the performer, doer or subject, whatever you want to say. Okay, now we are going to change this active voice of past perfect into passive voice of past perfect. First of all, we take object as the subject, the examination. Now it is subject. The examination had. In passive and active of perfect, we use only had in past tense, past perfect tense. Had been. Then we use been to have a change. Okay, been, this is our auxiliary. And then past participle means V3. And then by preposition, and Ali is your now object, which is your noun. So first of all, object into subject, then auxiliary, then third form of verb means past participle, then preposition, and then object. So it became active. Now it changed active into passive voice. First of all, we discussed the past simple active into passive voice. Then we discussed past continuous active into passive voice. Then we discussed past perfect active into passive voice. Now look at the future simple. I'm only discussing just future simple. Rest of the material of future would be discussed in some other lesson, in some other lecture. So in future simple, she will polish her shoes. So she is what? This is your subject. Will is your auxiliary. In future simple, we use shall and will auxiliaries. And polish is your first form of verb. And then her shoes is your object. So this is active voice. How did we come to know that this one is active voice? Because the subject, she, is prominent. The prominence is being given to she, the subject, the doer, the performer. Okay, now we are going to change this active voice of future simple into passive voice of future simple. Her shoes, object, changes into subject of passive. Her shoes will be. Now we change auxiliary shall or will into will be. Her shoes will be polished, means V3. Past participle by preposition her. Now this is your object, means your pronoun. First of all, the she was your subject, and now she will polish her shoes. She was your subject, but in passive we did what? We took object her shoes as the subject, then auxiliary will changed, we changed into will be, and then first form of verb polish, we took third form of verb polished, because you know in past definitely in passive voice you have to use third form of verb. Then by is your preposition and her is your object. So she changed into her. The third person pronoun she, subjective case, changed into objective case of third person pronoun she, means she, her, as I discussed earlier in the chart. So it was the whole. First of all, we discussed the present tense, and then we discussed past tense, and then we discussed the future tense. We discussed all these tenses, how we can change these active voice into passive voice sentences. So I tried my level best to make your concepts clear. I hope with this very brief lesson you would be able to change active voice into passive voice next time easily. So I hope you have got my lesson clearly, you have got each and everything. If you have any ambiguity, you can talk to me, you can contact me in my personal cell number, or in through my email or through my WhatsApp number. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have got the concept clear, if you enjoyed it, please don't forget to subscribe my channel and like my videos, and don't forget to share link with your friends and colleagues and other students as well. Thank you so much for listening my lesson. I hope you have got it. Thank you so much again. Have a blessed time.